The relationship between Bakugo and Deku has developed a lot during the many arcs of My Hero Academia. This is the story of how Deku becomes the greatest hero, and simultaneously the story of how Shigaraki becomes the symbol of fear, despite All For One being the real villain. But anyway, another important aspect of the story has been this relationship between Deku and Bakugo. We've had the story hone in on their connection so many times now that it's undeniably important to the story's author, Horikoshi. The relationship has gotten more screen time than any other up to this point. With this next statement, I'll be relieving a lot of people and also disappointing a lot of people, but this video is not about a romantic relationship between these two characters. Instead, we're talking about their friendship from early childhood to now, at the start of what should be their second year. And every time I think that we're only just now reaching their second year, my mind is blown. Anybody else? If you love these My Hero Academia videos and want to see more, drop a thumbs up on this video right now to let us know. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on to never miss an upload. If you haven't heard already, we do have a Discord server now where we, the Plot Army, can talk about our favorite series together, so check that out. The link will be at the top of the description. Now, let's talk about Bakugo and Deku. This video will contain manga spoilers, by the way, as we will be talking about developments that have yet to make their way to the anime. So if that's not your thing, now is your chance to step away. Alright, so things weren't always bad with these two characters growing up. It really fell apart once Bakugo developed a quirk and Deku did not. At that time, Deku would come to learn that people were not all born equal. Bakugo didn't just develop a quirk, he developed an amazing quirk that garnered him a lot of admiration, and because of that, he began to believe he was special, better than other people, especially someone like Deku, who in his mind had nothing. This thinking led to the bullying, and for the longest time, readers were left to wonder why Deku would stay around someone who treated him like that. Like, I'm pretty sure most people would not intentionally hang out with their bully daily to take abuse. Pretty sure that wouldn't happen normally. But later, we would have it revealed that Deku chose to do so because Bakugo was just that amazing. Despite his bad qualities, at the end of the day, Deku admired his winning attitude and strength. He admired All Might from a long distance, but right here in his neighborhood he had someone like Bakugo to look at daily. A bright star that attracted him, and so he took that abuse and observed what was essentially his idol. Deku had his eyes glued on Bakugo, watching his back as he moved forward. Funny enough, during all this, Bakugo himself was feeling like Deku was looking down on him from above, when really, of course, Deku only ever admired him. Bakugo always considered himself strong, and of course he was, but there came to be too many times where it felt like Deku was saving him, and so imagine someone you considered a pebble on the road, constantly saving you. You might then start to wonder if you're the one who's weak, and this sort of thing is what was driving Bakugo mad. He admitted this himself later. His whole life he had been looking down on Deku and ignoring his own weaknesses, and so while Deku did grow strong from genuine hard work, maybe the gap would have been wider if Bakugo had instead been focused on improving himself. Their whole relationship was filled with misunderstandings because they never talked things out. Bakugo never truly expressed how he felt while being saved, and Deku never expressed his real feelings as well. That was until their second fight where the truth of One for All was revealed. That was their first real conversation, and it revealed a lot, including what was bothering Bakugo most at that time, feeling like it was him who brought on the end of All Might's career. He felt weak, and for someone who believes they're strong, that's the worst realization. All Might, the hero they both admired, chose Deku over someone like him. It made him feel weak. These were all misunderstandings. Prior to sitting down and putting together this video, I never felt this way before, but now I realize that second fight was Bakugo's first victory over Deku really. The first fight in the series led to him winning his 1v1 matchup, but he lost the round, which he overall cares about more. He lost on paper, and we know Bakugo wants absolute victories, and prior to that, he'd never saved Deku. It was Deku who was saving him. That fight has a lot of meaning, but on that list is affirmation for Bakugo, a reminder that he's not weak. While he was wrong to look down on others instead of focusing on himself, he wasn't too far off his ideal path. It helped his pride. Deku fought his hardest, but he himself said win or loss didn't matter for him. Not that he let Bakugo win, but the point of the fight was to let Bakugo express everything that he had built up. All Might said it best when comparing Bakugo to Endeavor. To make a change and look at themselves, it took something like All Might losing his power and muscular form. Something shocking, And this is a very true thing in the real world. People very often don't self-reflect and really notice what's going on until it's too late, or there was just a very close call. In the case of Bakugo, it took seeing his hero retire after an incident in his mind caused by him being abducted. And before I go on further, I probably should acknowledge this before anyone comments it. I don't consider the tournament win a win for Bakugo against Deku. The tournament involved others, and Bakugo did not fight Deku in a 1v1 during the UA Sports Festival. Yes, he got his absolute victory, but that was not about Deku, really. So yeah. All Might losing his power, that traumatic experience, combined with finally expressing himself, sparked the change in Bakugo. And since then, he's been a different person. He was always a jerk, but he was never evil or anything. I think he was just intended to be loud and not friendly. The worst thing he did was tell Deku to take a dive off the roof, and even the author himself, Horikoshi, wonders if he went too far with that part. So even that was kind of out of the ordinary for Bakugo, a bit extreme. At the end of the day, these are all just kids, and Bakugo just happened to be one that didn't express his feelings at all until it became too overwhelming. Since that fight, things have been better. Bakugo went on to help Deku's training and be there for him. Helping was something he wanted to do, felt like he should do. It was his way of repenting. And we can't not talk about him risking his life to save Deku during the war. That was a genuine moment brought on by what was inside his heart. There's nothing you could do to top that when it comes to showing how much you care for someone. Sadly, after that moment, it would be a while again before they spoke, but Bakugo had been holding in more thoughts. He knew he owed Deku a real apology. That second fight wasn't an apology, more so just expressing what both sides felt and clearing tension. The apology would come during the 1A vs Deku fight. In that apology, Bakugo would again acknowledge that he's always felt like Deku was above him, acknowledge that in the last year he's been forced to acknowledge his own weaknesses and Deku's strengths. During this apology, he'd even go as far as to call Deku by his real name, Izuku, something we'd never seen and something that had the community a mess for a whole week. They've both changed a lot, but Bakugo was the one who had the most growing up to do, and after that moment, we can say he did it. From here on, what I'd expect is the words of All Might to ring true. Together, the two can become the ultimate heroes, ones who win by saving and save by winning. Time will tell, but Bakugo will definitely be right next to Deku in fights from now on, and if not directly in that fight, we can probably count on him doing what he did during the war, giving orders to others, being a commander of some sort, similar to the second user of One For All probably. And it's when you make a video like this that you really realize where My Hero Academia shines, and that is in character realism. A lot of these characters, a lot of these developments feel so realistic. Like the fact that it took a really shocking moment for Bakugo to step back and finally change, and the same thing for Endeavor as well as his family's response to that. It's hard to just forgive someone and move on, especially after your whole childhood had been traumatized by them, in the case of the Todoroki family. And so My Hero Academia has done what was realistic, have it take time and maybe never even really be resolved. In the case of Bakugo and Deku, it wasn't so extreme, and so it was possible for them to more easily move forward together. While in the eyes of most people, My Hero Academia is probably not on the level of Demon Slayer when it comes to emotions, it's a very realistic story, and for that reason it's very relatable. Personally, I haven't been able to relate to Deku most of the story, but I can understand his desires and it feels realistic. And the same thing goes for Bakugo. I'm not like Bakugo, of course, but it all makes sense and I can understand it. It doesn't feel out of this world. And in the case of a lot of anime, we just chalk things up to anime logic, but with My Hero Academia, you don't really need to do that, at least not with their relationships. Their story has been great though, and will be complete with that final victory at the end of the story. Did you like Bakugo from the beginning? How do you feel about him now? Let us know in the comments. Personally, I always loved the character, his confidence and desire to win captivated me from the beginning, but let us know what you think. Thanks for watching to the end. If you haven't already, please drop a like for more videos like these, and subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on to never miss an upload and join the Plot Army. Also check us out on Instagram and Twitter where we keep you up to date on all of the latest and greatest anime and manga news and have discussions about all the things we love. Until next time, keep that Plot Armor on you. I'm KJ. Have a great day. Goodbye.